What is up, Starseeds? I am Sydalexandria, and today we are going to be talking about alien abduction. Okay, so I made a list of 25 signs that you could have been abducted by extraterrestrials, because that is what I like to call them. Aliens just sounds kind of creepy. I don't know. So, before we get into these 25 signs, if you want, you can fast forward to this timestamp. But it is important to talk about the Congressional Hearing on UFOs and UAP that just recently happened about 2 weeks ago now. So there hasn't been one of these congressional hearings on UFOs in a long time, over 50 years. Okay, the last one happened in the 1960s, so this is a big deal. It's also a big deal to mention that there's lots of distractions going on right now. Yeah. So I don't want to touch too much on this, but I'll give just one example. There's lots going on right now distracting us from everything important that's going on. But one of these distractions is someone slapping somebody at the Oscars, which happened like a while ago now. That's kind of old news now. That's why we have all of these distractions. There's one thing in particular that is being talked about like crazy right now, and I think it's just a distraction. But we're not going to get into that today. So at this hearing, listen to the full thing. I'll leave it in the description of this video, a link to it. There was a public portion and a private portion. I watched all of the public portion, and I don't usually watch anything like that. I don't watch the news, but I watched it for research and to know what we're up against right now, okay? It went kind of exactly how I expected it to go. There were some things I was slightly surprised at, but it makes sense why they are saying all of this. They are being very careful, very cautious, very calculated, because they know that this shift that is going on, this awakening, is undeniable, and they can't stop it at this point. Okay, it's uncontrollable, irreversible, because so many of us are done with their bullshit, quite frankly. So, while watching this, please keep in mind a few questions. Always question everything, any situation, not just while watching this, but especially while watching this, okay? What is their intention? What is their motive? What are they trying to do? What is the point they're trying to get across? Why are they trying to get that point across? Is it for their benefit? Are they tricking us? Are they lying? Are they avoiding questions? Are they answering questions in a way that makes them technically not lying, but they are lying? Okay. Just some questions to think about while watching. So, there's a private portion because national security, right? And this makes sense. It's fair that they're saying this. They don't want other militaries knowing what our military, if you live in the U.S., is doing. Makes sense, okay? But the fact that there is proof of the U.S. government making deals and treaties with some of these ET races, and then they go and say that they haven't made contact with these UFOs, okay, because they have made contact with identified flying objects, not unidentified, because the ones that they know what they are, they'll make contact with. They won't make contact with the unidentified flying ones, so technically they're not lying. And they asked if they have had any debris from crashes that they've picked up, okay? And they said nothing that, was important, or nothing that they didn't say no, they didn't say yes. They're, going through the loophole with every single question. Then a congressperson asked if there's going to be any consequences for people or groups who are promoting a false narrative. Now, what does that mean? That means people like me. What I'm saying isn't false, it's the truth. it's something that goes against their narrative, so they're going to say it's false because they want you to believe them. Yep. So they're threatening us, okay? That idea did get shot down, I will admit, but the fact that they brought that up, the fact that a congressperson is saying that there should be a consequence for people using their First Amendment right, okay? The First Amendment says we have the freedom of speech. That's what I'm doing right here. Fuck you. And that's really all I want to say about this. I do think it's important to say that most UFOs and most UAP are the U.S. government or other governments' militaries, okay? They're not normally extraterrestrial beings. Some of them are, but I believe the vast majority of those crafts you see are our military. Unidentified submerging objects, USOs, that's another story. That is usually extraterrestrials or the hybrid children. So watch my ET and hybrid playlist if you want to know more about that. But I think it's time to get into these signs, because I could go on rambling about what just happened 2 weeks ago for a while, but I really don't want to give power to it, okay? So just think good thoughts when watching that video if you do watch it. And know that the reason they're trying so hard is because they know that they've already lost. They're picking at straws now. Okay, so I'm going to be glancing at my notes throughout this portion of the video. And these are in no particular order. This is just the order that I happen to jot them down. So, bed positioning, okay? This is a sign that you've been abducted by aliens, is where your bed is in your room. Do you like sleeping up against the wall, or in particular in a corner, okay? Because my whole life have always had my bed up against the corner of my wall, directly opposite from my door. In all of the houses I've lived in, this has been my preference. Now I sleep on the floor. I'm going to do a video pretty soon on what sleeping on the floor for over a year has been like. It's been amazing. I cannot sleep in a bed anymore. It's so uncomfortable. Anyways, sleeping up against the wall, particularly in a corner, is a sign. Also, animals and kids being attracted to you, okay? Older people being attracted to you, kids, babies, animals of all kinds, insects being attracted to you. When I was 16 and 17, I had so many freaking insect bites. It was literally insane. Like, I still have scars from, because I pick the bites, I scratch them, and then it turns into a scab and I pick it. So I still have scars on my legs and my arms from bug bites from 4 years ago now. So yeah. Trust issues. So there's a lot that comes with this. Having issues with authority, possibly feeling like you shouldn't get into a serious relationship, a romantic relationship, or really any serious relationship, because it could get in the way of an important mission that you have, or just feeling like you have an important mission in general. Okay, hearing ringing or humming in your ears. Marks, physical marks. Sometimes they can disappear super quick. Sometimes they last for like as long as a normal mark would last. But this can include marks called scoop marks, which kind of looks like someone took a scalpel and scraped you, like a little part of your skin off with it. Scratch marks. It looks like a scratch. I don't know how else to explain it. But it also could be a needle poking like that, or it could be a scratch. And you could have done the scratch mark, but that is a sign. Bruising. Okay. So I have a story that involves bruising. My hybrid daughter, clairvoyance, that video, I talk about bruises that were on me, also hickeys that were on me. Did not get raped, was not anything like that. Watch that video if you want to know what happened. And I don't have all of these crazy stories, you guys, of being abducted and stuff like that. I have a few stories of having marks. I've had marks a handful of times. And actually 2 of those incidences happened very recently, and it was on my big toe, my left big toe. And it was kind of where like that crease is, like if you're kind of like, you know, bending your toe and there's like that crease in the middle. There was a surgical scar. Swear to you guys. There was this scar. It looked like I had been cut open. And I don't know how to explain it. It didn't really look like stitches, but like it sort of did. It looked like this scar, like I had literally been cut open. And I noticed it while I was in the shower, because I take a shower like right after I wake up. I hop in as quick as possible. And I had not like a pain, but like kind of like a little pain, okay? Like the nerves in my toe were like funked up. So I look at my toe and I see this, and at first I thought, you know, wow, that crease in my toe, did I have it bent a weird way? Then I look at it and it's literally, shit you not, a surgical scar. So I was like, whoa, I'm gonna take a picture of this when I get out of the shower, because I have a really weird feeling about that, because that is not normal, and I could not have done surgery on my toe in my sleep. And when I get out of the shower, it's gone. 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. It was gone by the time I got out of the shower. And I was like, so I guess I'm not supposed to take a picture of that, and that's just for me. And whoever believes me saying it verbally, but that happened. Yeah, bruising, hickeys, that is, the hickeys is more if you have, it might not have been from like sucking, but that is probably if you have hybrid children, which we'll get more into later. Nosebleeds, okay, and nose irritation and sinus issues from like them shoving something up your nose. Genital / reproductive parts aching, okay. Now, they take eggs and sperm a lot of the time, not all the time. And women especially, I don't know how it feels for a guy, but women especially, like, you could have, like, an aching feeling in, like, I don't know, your ovaries, your uterus, your something. Or literally your hoo-ha. You could feel penetrated. You could feel touch, just like someone had like touched you at night, either in a sexual way or just like an examination doctor type of way. But those are like the main physical signs. Okay. And then missing time. This is the one that like everyone knows about. So not remembering how you got to bed, not remembering how you ended up wherever you woke up, or just literally having like hours of like missing time that like didn't make sense. Obviously, if you're drinking alcohol or doing drugs, this is going to affect your time, so don't rely on that. Technology glitching around you, and or being really like good and technologically inclined, being really good at technology, or it glitching around you and being really bad at it. This could go either way. Feeling in a higher dimension, there's a lot that goes into this as well, and I talk about this in other videos, in my ET and hybrid playlist, also in my energy playlist. But this is also the reason why UFOs don't just land. I did a video on that. But feeling in a higher dimension. So feeling more lovey, feeling more free, open-minded, happy, blissful. Kind of like lightheaded, maybe even sometimes. Or like seeing, I'm not a doctor. If this is happening to you, check. But when I have like little glimpses of 5D, when I'm only in 5D for like a few seconds, I see little stars. And it's not a health issue. Like, I know it's not, because it happens when I believe I am transitioning from 3D, 4D to 5D for a few seconds, because I think something that is just so, like, unconditionally loving, okay? And this has only happened to me a handful of times. Don't feel bad if this isn't happening to you. It's normal for it to not happen to you, okay? And if it happens to you more than me, like, kudos to you. If it happens to you not as much as me, kudos to you. Like, it's not like this is some great thing. If you experience this, it actually kind of makes you depressed sometimes afterwards. But anyways, feeling in a higher dimension, because in order to be abducted by higher dimensional beings, at least, you have to be a vibrational match to them. Therefore, you have to be in a higher dimension, and after the fact, you might feel like signs of being in a higher dimension, or before the fact, you might feel signs of being in a higher dimension. Okay, how you feel about bugs. We talked a bit about bug bites, because animals like you, but this is like having an irrational fear of bugs, or like overly loving bugs, because you could have had negative experiences being abducted by bug-looking beings, or really positive experiences being abducted by bug-looking beings. Okay, if cars, this one's kind of random, if cars have ever randomly disappeared or relocated when you're driving. So, and I've heard people talk about this a few times, like a glitch in the matrix, and I don't know how I feel about this, but I know what I saw, and a couple of times this has happened to me where a car almost hits me and then it literally disappears, or it moves like 30 feet down the road or behind me on the road, and I'm like, what the actual fuck just happened? Like, there's no other way to explain that. I don't know how to explain that, but that's just what happens sometimes. So, having dreams, this is a major one. These next two are some of the biggest ones. Having dreams of being in a school or educational setting, and or being in a plain white, gray, or silver room, or memories that you think might have been dreams of your family, like going, I write like when I type these notes too, of your family, like going out of your house and on board a spacecraft, and or dreams of being surrounded by other kids or just people in general playing energy games, like passing a ball of energy back and forth, or being naked surrounded by lots of people, possibly with silver medical examining tables in the room, or just like having an orgy even. Those are signs that you've been abducted by aliens. So also dreams or astral traveling experiences, either on board a craft or communicating telepathically with an extraterrestrial, or even visiting other planets. That probably actually happened, okay? And that's just how your mind rationalized and processed this down to the 3D human version of that encounter, okay? So these dreams are memories, okay? Sometimes. Or they're like the human 3D version. Like if you're dreaming you're in a school setting, sometimes that can be in a school setting on board a craft, especially if it's a pretty plain looking room. I've had so many dreams of being in a white room, and I'm like, is that just how I process like what the inside of a spaceship looks like? So, how you feel going to bed. Do you feel like you're going somewhere? Are you scared? Excited? This one, when I was 16 and 17, okay, right around that time where I had like just turned 17, I had lots of days, lots of like nights where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going somewhere amazing when I go to sleep tonight, so I can't wait to just get back home and meditate and lay down and be taken there. How you feel when you wake up. So physically and mentally, we talked a bit about this physically, like do you have any marks when you wake up? Do you feel like you have been touched when you wake up? Do you literally, if you have a hoo-ha especially, do you feel like you have been penetrated? Because that feeling, ladies, people that have a vagina, you know when you have been penetrated. And in that video about clairvoyance, my hybrid daughter, I felt penetrated that morning, and there is no other explanation, especially when I have met her after the fact. So, physically, what do you feel like? Mentally, what do you feel like? Like, how do you feel? Were you like, wow, I just did something awesome last night? Like, sometimes I'll wake up, and it might not be alien, extraterrestrial abduction related, it might just be parallel life related, I'm like, wow, I just freaking saved the world in my parallel life. Like, sometimes you have feelings like that, and it means something. You can't make up these, like, super strong feelings before you go to bed, and especially when you wake up. Like, something happened in your sleep. It did. Another sign is if you have had UFO or USO sightings, so unidentified flying objects or unidentified submerging objects, like seeing balls of energy, orbs, okay, seeing really weird cloud formations that look like they could be cloaked spacecrafts. I don't know if I've talked about this on this channel before, but sometimes you will see clouds, and you can find pictures online. Maybe they're photoshopped, who knows, but if you see it in person, you're like, dang, that's weird. It is like a long cloud that just, like, literally looks like a spacecraft. Like, it looks like a mothership in the sky, but disguised as a cloud. Can't make this shit up. Okay, so connection. If you feel drawn to a certain star system, if you've done my star seed exercise where you look up at the night sky and the stars and see what it feels like home, what star, what constellation, what star system, or if you're remembering another life of yours, or if you are having like a star seed awakening, then you've probably been abducted. So, genetics. Okay, this is like, I don't even know if it's controversial or not, but you don't have to have had family be abducted for you to be abducted. But when speaking about the hybrid program, and the genetics of it, because there's energetics too. These, and I've spoken about this in other videos, these beings involved in the hybrid program, human and extraterrestrial babies being made, yes, you heard that right, they take not only genetics, but also energetics. So you don't have to have a certain blood type. You don't have to be, have a strong Pleiadian, Lyran, Vegan, Syrian, Anunnaki lineage, or what have you. Yes, we have all of those races within us because we were genetically modified by these extraterrestrial races. Okay, I recommend reading The Prism of Lyra, but it also is important to say that we were not created by them. We were modified by them. We were already humans when they came here. We were evolving from apes, okay? We had our thing going. They debatably made us more intelligent. They made us like this. This is the modern version of a human that they helped create, yes. But it wasn't from scratch, okay? Anyways, so family, like if you have a grandpa or whoever that's like, or an uncle, what have you, that's like, oh yeah, one time I saw a UFO. They were probably abducted and you were probably abducted. That is a major sign right there, because when they're taking genetics and not just energetics, because energetics, sorry, I kind of went off topic, but now we're coming back. Energetics, it's like, oh, you're a spiritually awakened person. We love that energy. We want to infuse a kid with that energy. Doesn't matter your genetics. Your genetics, if you have a lot of DNA in you from them, they're going to be like, yeah, that's the easiest to work with. The Zetas, whose race was / is / will, usually was time confusing. It's all happening at once. So their race is dying out. So they're like, yeah, you have lots of Zeta in you. We're going to take you, use you in your family. But yeah, genetics and energetics used in making these kids. But that is a telltale sign that you've been abducted if your family has, okay? Mom's side, dad's side, whichever, both sides, dang. Or neither side, and it's just you. That happens all the time. So, willingness. If you feel like you'd be open to or would volunteer to be abducted, you probably have been, okay? Because we're volunteers. Now, in the earlier days, maybe they took people who didn't agree to it. I am a person who believes that 99% of the things that happen to you in your life, you and subconsciously or consciously agreed to. So, that's debatable. but that is what I believe, that you agree to this. You agree to come to Earth, you agree who your parents are, you agree your income level when you're born, all of it, okay? You agree to it, and you agree to be an abductee if you're an abductee, or a hybrid parent if you're a hybrid parent. In the earlier days of these abductions, they weren't as gentle or as caring to us, so that's where a lot of trauma comes from. If you hear abductees who were abducted back in the day talk about this, they're like, yeah, it was super freaking scary. And now if you hear people talk about it like me, you're like, yeah, I can't wait to, be taken. So there's a huge change that happened. And I talk about this in other videos, but they had to be more loving for their purpose to be successful, okay? Because the babies needed love, so they had to be loving to us, so we would be loving to the hybrid children. Anyways, so willingness, if you're open to it, you've probably been abducted. So feeling like you aren't supposed to talk about this is a sign that you've been abducted. Big sign. And not remembering any weird dreams, not having any memories, like not really resonating with any of this shit, but having a feeling, but watching until this point of the video, yeah, you've been abducted. Okay, and then the rest of this is for hybrid parents specifically, like people with ET, hybrid children resulting from abduction experiences. So you probably have all or a lot of these signs that we talked about already. If you haven't, cool. If you have, cool. But you could also be having these dreams or astral experiences, having sexual encounters with super unearthly, beautiful beings or odd-looking beings, because, like, the Pleiadians, man, they're hot, right? Okay? Those are, like, our cultural beauty standards, honestly, and they look good, in my opinion. There's other beings who can, like, cloak themselves to look like that or fit our societal beauty standards. Whatever your dream person is, a quote-unquote ugly-looking alien could pretend to look like that for you and literally have physical or, like, astral sex with you. Or quote-unquote ugly or odd-looking beings, you might just be down for that, so that happens too. Sorry, my camera cut out, but we're almost done. So meeting odd-looking, beautiful children who are your ET hybrid children, and they usually present themselves with, like, their primary caregiver, who is usually, like, their alien, their extraterrestrial, their other parents, okay? And it could be a guy or a girl. Like, my daughter, Clairvoyance, her primary caretaker is her other mom, who is, like, I think Pleiadian. Could be Venetian, could be Lyran, but she has, like, that very beautiful look, and that is her true form. Like an angel, but, bitchy. She said, you can say it, just say I'm bitchy. Yeah, like, she's like an angel without the wings is what she looks like, but her personality is, like, we got some, I don't want to call it baby mama drama, but, like, baby mama drama. Like, she's just kind of disappointed that I am, like, a human right now, and I am not on the same level as her. That's why she has, like, these feelings towards me. Anyways. And then Draco, my son, who is actually part reptilian, he lives in Inner Earth with his dad, who is reptilian, and they're good reptilians. Not all reptilians are bad. Hate that assumption. Anyways, they usually present themselves with their other parent. And there can be multiple parents, okay? Like I said, Clairvoyance, her other mom is a female. Then there was a Zeta male involved and other humans involved as well. Like, there was lots of people involved with Clairvoyance, the creation of her. Anyways, you could also have dreams of seeing, like, lots of babies in test tubes, and or having dreams or astral experiences of these children being taken away from you, okay, from mothers especially, because sometimes the baby is put in you, or, like, you actually, like, get pregnant and then they extract the baby. Sometimes it's just all in test tubes, and that's why lots of people are presented with babies in test tubes. because that happens. Having like a phantom pregnancy is another sign. Pregnancy, like really early on, before a pregnancy test would come up positive, or in a few cases after it came up positive. That's happened. Because sometimes, like I said, you get to carry them for a bit, then they get extracted. Sometimes babies never get put in moms. They just take eggs. They take eggs and sperm and do it outside of a body. Okay, so this one is deep. Sometimes if you've lost a human child, like if you've had a miscarriage or an abortion, or you have had a stillborn child, sometimes those, actually pretty frequently, those children are taken by extraterrestrials, and they are living on a spaceship or on another planet or in another dimension, another reality, another realm. They could be living, and I hate bringing this up, honestly, because it's really emotional, but like, this happens. Yeah. And then if you are, this is a major sign for everybody. I wanted this to be the last one, not just for hybrid parents, but for everybody. If you are content without having contact, because ET contact and anything you're trying to manifest happens when you are content without it. Okay, these ETs are higher dimensional beings, so if you're like, I really want some ET contact, they will usually hear, I really don't have some ET contact. And because you're wanting and desiring something, like, this means that you don't have it, okay? That's why desiring and wanting stuff is bad, because you need to act like you already have it, act like you are comfortable without it, because stuff happens when you're comfortable. When you're comfortable, uncomfortable things will happen to bring excitement and uncomfortability into your life, because you're supposed to always be going through these phases and changes and cycles, and life is always supposed to be exciting. So once you get comfortable, once you are content without it, that's when it'll happen, okay? You can also invite them in. If you would like some ET contact, you can invite them in by flooding and filling your body with these emotions of preparedness, of readiness. You can say like, hello, I am ready for you to present yourself. I am in a high vibrational state. I am prepared for this. You can present yourself in your true physical form. I am ready for this. And it might happen. I've tried this and it doesn't happen. And then I see a squirrel outside and I'm like, ah! And I'm like, that's why it didn't happen. Okay, you have to be used to seeing bugs, all types of animals, okay with like human spirits around you, to be okay with extraterrestrials presenting themselves. I had to throw that in there as well. But that is all the signs, and this video was longer than I expected it to be, but I hope it was worth it. So, peace out.